So, it's hard to follow all of that. All of you wonderful people here, all of the teams that you work with, have done so much and contributed so much to get us here to where we are today, which, to be honest, makes my small section feel very sort of under-researched, shall we say, compared to all the amazing things that we've heard. But I will continue, and I will take us on a slightly different path to talk more about MMI more broadly. For those of you that I haven't yet met, I'm Angharad, and I'm Director for Advancement of the Professions at RCVS, but I also have the privilege of overseeing MMI. And that gives me great joy to be here as part of something like this today. I've really enjoyed hearing from everybody who's shared their research. I love the part where everybody goes out and starts engaging in discussion and thinking about what might be, where this could all take us, and what solutions that we might be able to find, what different strategies we might be able to employ. But most of all, it's the shared desire to raise awareness of mental health, and to address stigma and discrimination. So at MMI, we have 4 key values, and I even have props. So we have our 4 values are collaboration, innovation, inclusion and accessibility, and evidence. And there are 2 documents that are available on your tables that have much more detail and will be put much more eloquently than I can ever share with you. But please take hold of these copies. Please take several. Share them with your colleagues, read them, think about them, and give us your feedback on them. But the thing that I hope shines through is that our values are extremely important, and not just to MMI, but also to advancement of the professions and all of those who we work with. So what have we done so far? Some of the highlights for me have shown how we can cover the breadth of the professions. And one of the ways in which we covered new ground was the Student Vet Nurse Experience Survey. This had over 700 responses and was one of the first of its kind for student vet nurses, not just in the UK, but globally. And the outcomes of that led to collaboration with Vet Nurse Futures and the BVNA to deliver civility training. We also ran think tanks, created a civility hub, and supported the Safe to Speak Up campaign weeks. And we continue to promote these important conversations around civility, psychological safety for all, but especially for those who are students, so that they can in turn thrive in practice. Those 700 participants and the participants in the subsequent roundtables and sessions who gave up their time and shared some truly difficult experiences with us and trusted us to use this to make the workplace better for those around them. And I think we have to continue to laud those who do this, as Leah very rightly said this morning about the co-creation. Our latest survey, looking at mental health, chronic illness, disability and neurodiversity in the veterinary professions and student populations, had over 3,500 responses. All of these were people who wanted to share, and they wanted to enable our research to happen. So moving on, one of the other areas that we looked at was the and me collaboration, and this was with human doctors. And I always have to say human because otherwise you never know what species they might be. And this was an incredible initiative that looked to show the similarities with other professions, those who we can share our veterinary knowledge with and where we can also learn. And those who shared their personal stories did so in an extremely public way. They helped to challenge the ongoing stigma, and those lesser heard voices have continued to be listened to in all that we do. We also collaborate with other professions, and for example, we recently invited speakers from the Autistic Doctors International Group so that we could look at these in a more intersectional way with all of the other work streams, such as our diversity and inclusion and leadership. So while new is important, we shouldn't be doing new for newness' sake. We have to challenge ourselves. We have to consider how we can reduce stigma, but also complacency. Awareness weeks are another method as to how we can do this. This way, we as an organisation can demonstrate our values, and we can support different members of the communities that we represent. And recent examples of this include Mental Health Awareness Weeks, Neurodiversity Awareness Month, Black History Month, and of course being here today on World Mental Health Day. These days, weeks and months might change each year when we need to change our focus or shine a light on the mental health impact of these situations. And some might be more sustained as we weave these into our longer-term plans, but all are important. We are also very mindful that accessing anything around mental health and well-being can just be really hard, whether due to personal lived experience, current challenges within the workplace. So we try to consider how we can make these more accessible and how we can be gentle in our approach. So one of the items that we then launched were the campfire chats in 2021. These enabled those who needed the content but were perhaps facing difficult steps, or those who were extremely time poor during the work schedules of the lockdowns, to attend our online events that were very deliberately no frills. They focused on the lived experience, coupled with expertise, and had hundreds of attendees over the seasons. And we even took these live to conferences and brought in areas of our leadership and diversity and inclusion streams. We also included all parts of the professions, including wider members of the veterinary teams, such as practice managers. It's very important to us to make clear that our training is very rarely profession-specific, unless there is a need, for example, where it's student-focused. But where it's open to all, it truly is. We've had over 2,500 people attend our training, and it started out purely in person, then went to 100% virtual during COVID, and now it's a mix of those and even hybrid. So this has increased accessibility, but I won't lie, it's also provided us with challenges as to how to manage bookings and how people interact with this. But to focus on the positive, it's also made us consider how we balance out our training programme in the current climate. The training that we offer can be quite general, so introductions, core principles, right the way through to mental health first aider certificates. And we're very aware of the multiple generations in each organisation, however big or small it might be, the differences between rural ambulatory practice, lone working, or being part of a large hospital. And we have to find a way to speak to all of these communities and a way to bring them all together. Another area that we have that some of you hopefully will have also heard of is MMI International, and this is a wing that Lizzie leads. It's an amazing group of veterinary associations and bodies from all over the world. And I think for us, knowing that there is this global will and desire to improve those, to improve and support those with mental ill health and to promote the protective health behaviours and to reduce stigma is such a positive demonstration of our core values, but also that these are aligned globally. And every time we meet with this growing group, there is so much to learn. There is some amazing leadership out there, and they are such an inspirational group. So I would encourage you to check out what other organisations are doing so that we can all move forward together. I've mentioned students quite a lot in this, and that's because it's one of an area of focus for us so that we can get to them earlier before they graduate. We started an outreach programme to go specifically to all the vet schools and to start attending more VN training providers, although as the count of these is over 80, that's perhaps a bigger challenge than getting to the veterinary students. What we like to do with these students is share the purpose of MMI, to start to build the trust in our brand and to help them understand how we signpost to the incredible works of charities such as VetLife, and again, trying to reduce the stigma of mental ill health. All the RCVS officer talks at all of the vet schools now include content on MMI to further reinforce this message. Later this week, we have an entire year group at Harper Keele who are undertaking MMI mental health workshops. Kate has been on tour at all of the vet schools recently, sharing the amazing work, and we are very grateful to all of our officers and council members who promote the work of MMI so diligently. At the RCVS and through MMI more recently, we've also donated over £1 million to VetLife. And we've got James here in the room today, and I'm sure he would agree that the finances are very important to what VetLife does. But it's these continued collaborations and co-support for the professions that is integral to all of us meeting our shared goals. We also provide funding to Vet Support NI and to the ProfCon investigation support by funding training and supervision. And these perhaps are lesser known than some of the large groups like VetLife, but their impact is growing and their impact is felt. So that's been quite a lot of information to share with you about what we've been doing. I hope it's highlighted our efforts to seek out those who need to hear from us, from those who have been able to share their experiences and expertise, and in other professions from whom we can learn. Our values are key. Learning is what we continue to do, and that's why we've been here today. So our strategy launched earlier this year, and we are proud to enhance the firm foundations that we have already created. And what will we be doing? Well, there's lots in the document, but a few highlights for you. One of the areas that we feel passionately about is the leadership element. We know that for many leaders and for line managers, talking about mental health with their teams can be extremely difficult. It's a very, very delicate conversation. Last year, we partnered with VMG to provide free training to line managers, but this is only the start of generating confidence in having such conversations. One of the other areas that is why we're here today is around our grant and research programme. So for those of you who were paying keen attention to the number of presentations that we had and the awards that the awarding of the grant earlier today, you will realise that we have reached the final number of funded projects with Sarah Brown. And we will be announcing new plans in the spring, but I want to say how grateful we are to Sarah Brown's family for continuing to support this. And I would just like to reassure everybody that the core principles that we have embarked upon as part of the Sarah Brown programme will be continued. I think finally, learning is something that's very personal. And so our aim is to increase the resources that we have available. And we do have quite a lot, so please check out the website. We will be starting a new series of campfire chats and creating more training opportunities. This training will be subsidised, as always has been, and it will be spread across many more topics. One key element, though, of us being able to deliver this training is the feedback. So I will drop a really subtle hint here, and thank you in advance for completing your delegate surveys so that we can improve for next time and we can learn more about what our audiences want. Attending industry events is also another thing that we do, and we also really enjoy. We love being out with people. So we were proud to partner with BSAVA last year as part of an ongoing commitment from MMI to deliver the neurodiversity stream. And we will be putting on a new stream for 2024, which will look at more complex mental health issues. At the heart of all the training and outreach is evidence, and we will only platform those who have qualifications or expertise to teach. But we will also ensure that lived experience is blended so that we can give a more rounded experience to all of our delegates. Our speaker and trainer profiles will also continue to reflect wider society so that members of the team can find affinities or even different styles of presentation. So in short, we have quite a lot of ambitious targets in that document, but without those targets, it would be hard to see where we could go and what we might be able to change. So my huge thanks to everybody who's been part of today. I hope that this has inspired you and that you've met like-minded people, and most importantly, that we can start to translate more of this research into the grassroots as soon as possible. I would encourage you all to go out and talk about this, to invite our wonderful speakers to come and be at your events, in your organisations, and to share what they have been doing. We are still defining our 2024 activities because we want to hear from you. So if there is anything that you feel that we can collaborate on, that we can support, or we can be part of, then please come and let us know. And one final plea, continue to do all this great work, continue to challenge, and between all of us, our combined efforts will make a huge difference. Thank you very much. Thank you.